I'm glad that we have this public forum, but one of the things I would like you all to consider, the developers, is when you show up, you need to show up with the attitude of giving. There have been more than enough CBA agreement conferences across the city. So when you show up, we shouldn't have to ask you. You should be saying, we're going to give you, we're going to give you, we're going to give you. It should not be this going back and forth.
My ask is that you hear the voices and the trauma that was in place by this, that was perpetrated on the residents of Black Bottom as they were forced to leave the place that they lived.
I am asking this honorable body to consider or to adopt a racial equity framework for evaluating any and all proposed community benefits for this project.
There is no reason why we shouldn't invest some of the developers' money directly into the Housing Trust Fund to meet that deep affordability.
The impact area. Let's be really clear, the $800 million in public money, that is for Olympia, right, to make an additional 2% in profit, $800 million, because $1 billion in profit is not enough, right? Olympia wants $3 billion in profit. And a bulk of that is being extracted from our public institutions, our libraries, and our schools, right? About a third of that $800 million comes from our schools and our libraries, over $200 million, right? I don't think it's fair for our children to have to pay because $1 billion is not enough for Olympia, right?
And I love the development that's taking place in the city of Detroit, but I am outraged at our public money, our taxes that do not come back into the community. I hear community a lot, but that doesn't affect my community.
Trust Fund, to say that the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is the one truly deeply affordable housing option here in the city of Detroit. That fund goes to provide housing for families. 70% of the housing must be for families at 30% AMI or below. And we know that that will capture most Detroiters.
For this project. And when I say racial equity framework, I mean an analytical tool similar to what was used in Oakland, California, and other cities all across the nation that uses baseline data based on race to evaluate the impact of these benefits and see how or if they are going to improve the quality of life for Black and brown people. Now,
I've looked at programs across the country and some international programs that have high income supporting the low income. And you can do that with 3 types of housing in one project. I'm gonna ask you to do that.
Not enough for Olympia, right? So I'm asking in that, right, to make as a demand that Olympia and related reimburse our babies, reimburse our students, reimburse our schools and our libraries over the course of this abatement period, right? In terms of all money extracted as a part of this development project.
but throughout the lifespan of the project, how to evaluate it, how to place a monetary value on it, how to monitor it, how to enforce it.
37 years. I think it's outrageous. $800 million are being planned here. Public money, basically to go to Illich.
And it's like these word games that are being played when you say community or affordable housing. We're talking about the citizens of Detroit whose tax dollars have funded a lot of your developments, and it's not trickling back into the city.
And I gotta say, I'm really excited by a lot of the development I've seen all over the city, except on the Illich-owned properties. And
I can give you an instant analysis of this whole deal. It's going to be congestion, parking problems, and it's going to depress the value of every other property around there.
Jackson, you used a word, an operative word, to describe this CBA, which was embellishment. Embellishment meaning details that are not true, used to make something look more attractive.
I ask that you take consideration for the people that are being affected by these decisions over the profit that billionaires are looking to make.
Number one, Illich was supposed to take care of Henry Street when he did the ice rink. Oh, they didn't do that one, so we'll throw it in and say it's some kind of accomplishment.
Essentially, the CBA is a bunch of stuff they should be doing already, dressed up to look like, masquerading, right, as community benefits.
And if you really want a community, I believe you should just scrap all of this. If you really want a community benefit, let the people be part of the investment. If you want our money, let us be that part of an owner. Because
When will the developers think about the citizens that are in the city?
Football is a dangerous gladiator sport. How are you going to help 2,400 students are served by football?
Important. But what about the core issue of placement? How do we know that the individuals who are getting these low-income units are the long-term legacy Detroiters, and it's not an extension of campus housing or corporate intern housing, so to speak? Everybody is broke when they're in college. There's some more work that needs to be done to close the loophole.
Finished business. And on top of that, Illich signed a lease to provide 50,000 tickets to children to go to the Tiger games, and he hasn't delivered on that.
I'm also someone who has dealt with a bad CBO and they see all of this mess here. I'm here to say this. We need to stop this right now. We have 2 Detroits. We need 1 Detroit. We need to get rid of anything that doesn't help all the people. For us to be doing something downtown that's only in this district is wrong.
This neck needs to go back, right, and reconsider everything that has been put on the table and carve out something that is meaningful, right, to the average Detroiter, not developers, not business folks.
Okay, that's time. Thank you.
We in public money. We have a city of 700,000 people. Jobs are not gotten for these construction. That point's been made, and the money is not going to the people of Detroit, who have been so long without and so deserving, and have $800 million, and you can't even mention that statistic here tonight. You can't even mention that. It's so hot and so wrong.
That's what you're doing here. You keep talking about these future plans. Well, go back and look at your mistakes so you can learn how to avoid them in the future. Like the Mennonites say, do the best you can. And after you learn, do better. And you're not doing it.
Dreams and these models. I'm someone who's lived under a model. They've done 5, 10 different models. They put in a third party to come and check to see. I still breathe and deal with stuff from a bad deal here.
So you think you're going to come up with a plan here and they're going to do it? As soon as you leave here, it goes into the dustbin and they keep going.
And on the question of enforcement, the ordinance actually does not specify enforcement. There's a lot of may probably at your discretion. So the NAC needs to come back and put specific items in there that you desire for enforcement.
Bad deal here. It's time for the city to stop giving stuff away. Period.
This CBA, right, is business centered, development centered. It does not provide adequate and sufficient benefits to the average Detroiter. And considering the amount of public money that is being used, it does not morally go far enough to help and support the most marginalized and disadvantaged people in this city.
I sent you guys a copy of the ordinance. Did you bother to read it?
It was received.
Did they read it?
I can't speak to that. I can't. I believe they did. But
Obviously not. Some of the comments I heard.
If you want solar recycling ease, then you need to put that into any new construction so that they have to put solar on the roof. They got to have solar hot water like they do in Germany. They got to have recycling within the multiple dwelling, which none of us get in multiple dwellings unless you take it personally to hold it.
and I'll take your
You
comment.
need to do something that's progressive and build it into those new buildings.
We want to
That's ridiculous.
briefly get on to talk
Give them an
about
open book,